Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we are also here at the request of Nintendo of America. There is someone behind the door, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society is behind the door with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including some developer insights on Metroid Prime 4. And then on Thursday, we are looking ahead to Nintendo's 2026, the year we're currently in, if you can believe that. Mark, in the meantime, how's it going?
Going great. Excited to be back for another news episode. It's
been
a while since we've done one of these.
We haven't been able to talk about the news.
The news.
Mm-hmm.
New releases. Checking in on Nintendo Music.
Yeah, being like, who said something about what's going on?
We're always talking
about we've got our finger on the pulse of who said something about what's going on.
Yeah, we read a headline somewhere that said this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that is frequently what these news episodes are. We read a headline. Usually we're reading those articles too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, before we talk about them in full, like in the news section here.
Right.
It's not like a vigorous research process, but
depends.
I feel like the best like firewall we have against fake news on the show is each other, right? That like sometimes I will write something up and you're like, that's not really real, and that doesn't actually go in reverse. But usually you stop me from bringing bad news onto this show.
Hey, it's a team effort, right?
It's a team effort.
We're all in it together.
That's right. If you would like to support this team effort, you can head on over to patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where if you're supporting us at the 8 or 16-bit levels, you get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries like NCS at the Movies.
Yes, where Patrick and I, and most times a special guest, are going to the movies together and then talking about that movie. It's been so much fun so far, and if you're wondering what we're gonna do for January, hey, so are we. So if you have any ideas for what you would like to hear us talk about in January, new release movie, let us know.
Yeah, because
we haven't decided yet.
We're a little bit at a loss. We already saw No Other Choice together.
Yeah, that's right.
The new Park Chan-wook movie, which we both really liked, but it doesn't really feel like it's NCS at the Movies.
Right, yeah, for whatever reason.
I don't know. There's a quality of NCS at the Movies that we've been unable to define. Yes. We're also probably going to go see Primate.
Yeah, that's right.
It's about a killer monkey. A killer pet monkey.
It's like a slasher movie with
cool.
primates. Primates. A single monkey.
A single one. But the humans are also primates.
Humans
right?
are also. What a great. I wonder if that's a twist. Well, anyways, let us
Let's
know.
not get ahead of
ideas.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
But if anyone would like to email us spoilers for Primate, email us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. This is a callback to a joke we made in like our first year of this show.
Almost 10 years ago.
We wanted people to email us spoilers about the movie Split. And some did. So
yeah. So thank you.
So thank you for that, people who were listening to the show 9 years ago. Speaking of people who've been listening to the show for 9 years, head on over to the Discord and chat with them and with us. You can do so easily by emailing us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. I send you an invitation. You get in there. You chat with us. It's a good, fun time. Mark, 3 weeks of news we haven't talked about. We've got a lot to get to today. So let's dig into it. Let's talk about what we've been playing this week. So I finished Metroid Prime 4.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
I beat it. Thank you. And you and I are going to be doing like a bigger deep dive into Metroid Prime 4 next week when we both had the opportunity. We assume that you will have finished it by then.
Yeah.
In a sort of like mega multi-ranking episode. But I just wanted to check in with you and see how you are, where you are in Metroid Prime 4 currently, and how you are feeling about it at this specific moment.
Yeah, so I have 4 of the 5 MacGuffins, and I'm on my way to get the 5th MacGuffin right now.
And you are in the area?
Yeah, I'm in the area where it is obtained, and I so I am surprised at how much it feels like it has turned into a military shooter a little bit.
But the presence of like 5 Marines at all times will do that. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird game.
Yes. It's a very strange game.
It's like the beginning of it, I was like, okay,
Uh-huh.
I mean, here's the thing. I like the first Metroid Prime game a lot. But even the end of that game, like when I was playing the remastered version, I was it was so much backtracking and so much just like
Yes.
pick up every single one of these. And so
Which is true of the end of Echoes as well, the second one.
and I didn't like 3. And so it's interesting to be here at 4, like so much later, and still be running up against some of those same ideas that I don't particularly care for in the series. With like there's a different flavor to it. Like some of the mechanics are different, but it's a lot of the same stuff that I didn't like about like Prime, a game that I really like, but by the end of it, I'm just like grinding my teeth as I'm trying to pick up all the artifacts or whatever
Right.
the
yes.
MacGuffin is in that game. And so it's weird because this is making me, and I haven't played 2 or 3 for a very long time, but it is making me question, like, do I like what Metroid Prime is, or do I like the idea of Metroid Prime? Because more than like the execution. Because not that I am having a terrible time, it just doesn't have like a spark, if that makes sense. It just feels like a video game.
Yes, it does just feel like a video game, which like fair play, that's what it is. Yeah, I lately I've been like toying around with this idea that like there are like 5 kinds of Nintendo games, right? And like there's the rarefied era of like it just on a scale of 1 to 5 if you think about it that way, right? And the 5s are like the absolute like must plays, like generational, they're your Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, only a handful of others, right? Like and they're mostly Mario and Zelda games, right? And then below that there's a tier where it's like most everything else that I consider like good from Nintendo. And that's where I put like the original Metroid Prime. And then there's like one step down from that, which is still a level of quality right in the middle that like I'm going to play every time and I'm going to have fun with, but like is just going to not have that same like special quality of those 4s and 5s. And I feel like that's exactly where this game lands. Like it feels a lot like just in terms of quality, like Luigi's Mansion 2. You know, where I'm like, yeah, a perfectly good game that I like, that feels like a video game, is sometimes charming, is sometimes frustrating, and is like both good and bad at the same time.
Yeah, because it's not like I'm not hating my experience.
Yes.
Right? Like I feel compelled to keep going. Like you said, there are moments that I'm really enjoying. There are mechanics I really enjoy. There are things about the game I think are great. But yeah, the things that I don't really like about it is just, I don't know. It just feels like part of the series as I look back on it. We'll talk about all this a lot more next. We can detail, and that'll be like a spoiler-filled discussion. Because we're kind of, I think, dancing around some mechanics and stuff right now. But
yeah, we're dancing around some mechanics, and I mean, you and I have not really talked about like the story of this game since our early impressions, and both of us being like, yeah, Miles is fine. Who cares? Like, he's a little annoying, but like no more annoying than any character in any video game. So you've met all the characters.
I've met all of them now.
At this point, and like they're all fine, but like largely forgettable. And you know, some of them are like engaging in more obnoxious tropes than others. And again, I mentioned this to you before we started recording, but there is a turn that one of these characters takes that made me laugh out loud when it started happening because I just didn't see it coming. So very much look forward to talking about him with you next week.
Yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to finishing it and seeing the game through. And yeah, lots to talk about.
Dude, it's not a spoiler at all, but the end fight, fun. Tons of fun. Like a great end fight.
I think I've liked all of the boss fights. I don't think there's been a single one that I thought was bad, which I can definitely not say about 3. I remember that being something I really did not enjoy about 3. Yeah, I've enjoyed all those so far, and I like the bike.
Yeah, here I agree with you. I like the bike too. I do. I wish there were a few more things to do in the desert.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, yeah, I also like the bike. It's like fun to control. I like once you start to like get the power ups for the boost meter.
Uh-huh.
And like really doing that like slide into stuff. And like some of the combat encounters on the bike are fun. Did you fight like the big like sandworm thing in the desert?
I've seen the big sandworm things,
Yeah.
but I haven't fought it. I avoid combat on the bike as much as possible because I don't think the combat is very fun.
So the combat during that sequence is fun because it makes you use the bike in a different way.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm also generally like, yeah, bike good. I like the bike.
Yeah.
But yes, we will talk about this more in depth next week. Mark, what else have you been playing?
Well, over the weekend, which is something we don't say that often on the show, got together
What?
and played video games.
What?
Yeah, in the same room.
You and I?
Yeah, with friends of the show and previous guests, Connor McCabe and Jeremy Schmidt. And we played a little bit of Triforce Heroes, you, me, and Jeremy Schmidt on our 3DS.
Connor sat nearby, not playing the game with us.
Playing Katamari Damacy on his PSP.
That's right.
Again, so much fun.
Yeah, it's what a fun thing to like. I love both the moments where the game forces us to communicate and where we're all three of us are such Zelda pros that like we all just intuited what to do next. Both of those I found to be equally satisfying.
Yeah. Just I will say it again. I feel like I've been saying it so much in the past 6 months, but please bring this to Switch too.
Please bring this to Switch too. Mark, I did do a little math recently in the Discord where I was like, you know what? We always have like a Zelda thing coming up, right, from Nintendo. Every year they put out a Zelda something. And it seems like right now is a perfect time for a Zelda remake. And I put together a little list of all of the recent Zelda remakes from the Switch, Wii U, and 3DS eras, and it's sort of like mapped out how long it is like the interval between when the games were originally released and when they were remade. And so we're talking Skyward Sword HD, Link's Awakening, Twilight Princess HD, Majora's Mask 3D, Wind Waker HD, and Ocarina of Time 3D. And so, you know, the amount of time elapsed for each one. And I took Link's Awakening out of the equation because it's a clear outlier. It's the 26 years from the original to the remake. So removing that, the average length of time between original release and now, and when their remake was released, is 11.25 years.
Okay.
So what Zelda game came out in 2015?
Is it Triforce Heroes?
It's Triforce Heroes!
Oh my gosh.
So I'm just saying, if we look at the math, I've mathematically proven it.
Incredible.
That they should be remaking Triforce Heroes on Switch this year.
That'd be a lot of fun.
We also played a little bit of Marvel Cosmic Invasion. The four of us were hanging out in front of my new TV, my big new TV, not using the big TV to play video games. We were playing video games on our little handhelds, but then we all played Marvel Cosmic Invasion on the big TV. Tons of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
We spent precious little time with it though. It was maybe like 2 levels that we played together. Man, those kinds of beat 'em ups are so satisfying with 4 people on screen at once. What chaos.
Yeah, so much fun being able to like switch between the 2 characters. I would love to play it again.
Yes.
And like switch up the characters I was using. So I was using Cosmic Ghost Rider, is that right? And then
Yes.
Spider-Man. And both of them were super fun to control.
And feel pretty different, right? Like Spider-Man's air attack is like he's swinging on a web.
Yeah.
Which like fundamentally changes the way he moves through the air versus like Ghost Rider. We had a super fun time and like would love to do that again. All right. Well, that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
It's the first week of January, so not a whole lot as far as new releases go, but it's not like the month is going to be quiet like this forever.
Right.
So
this week is kind of nothing.
Yeah, week is kind of nothing, and there wasn't even a Nintendo Music update as of when we were recording this. But while we were on our little news break, we did get the Wii Party soundtrack added to Nintendo Music.
Wii Party is a game that I have like literally no experience with.
Yeah, I never owned it either.
And never owned it, and also I like have never been to a house where someone like put it on to play. Like I feel like every other Wii game, although that was the case, the case with music until you and I played it.
Right.
So yeah, maybe there is just like a fair amount of like the Wii series that.
Well, because like Wii Play was
Yeah.
the one that came packed with a
Wii remote. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, this one I don't know that I ever played, or like you said, I don't know that I know anyone who ever owned it.
Was it just the remote, or did it come with a nunchuck too?
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. But whatever it was a deal,
Yeah.
right? Whereas like only $10 more than a remote would be on its own, and you got this
like
little
party game, yeah.
Anyways, it was more like Clubhouse gamesy, right? That it was that there were a couple games that you could play in it. I think
Could be.
I remember playing it with my mom. Anyway, nothing's coming out this week.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get out of the new releases then. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or a group of performers did not play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are Talk About Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, we're doing a little bit of an animal versus.
Yes.
We're going to determine just in a series of matchups which animal we like more, which animal we think is better.
Yep.
What resource are we using for this?
Yes, we're using a randomlist.com random animals list. So the way this is going to work is that I'm going to randomly generate 2 animals, and then we'll decide which one we like better.
And I think we can use whatever criteria we want for this.
100%.
Even if it comes down to like, this is not the like platonic ideal of it, but if we want one of them to be which one would win in a fight,
Sure.
right?
It can be a factor.
It can be a factor. It could be like, which one do we think would be the most delicious? Which one would make a better pet?
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
We will let the matchup determine what the criteria is.
I think that's great. I think that's
Great.
perfect. Okay, so our first matchup is going to be guinea pig
Okay.
versus capybara.
Okay. Similar creatures.
Both rodents, I believe.
Sure. Have you ever known anyone who had a guinea pig as a pet?
I know that like school classrooms did. There was a point where I was living in an apartment.
It's a very common like school classroom pet. Yes.
Yeah, there was a point I was living in an apartment where I couldn't have like a dog or a cat or something, but they did allow guinea pigs. But then I was doing all this sort of research, and every resource was like, guinea pigs are social creatures, so you need multiple of them.
Right.
And then you should be like brushing their hair while you're watching TV and stuff like that. It just seemed like a lot of work.
Right. They're clingy. Like if you're getting, because you're getting a guinea pig, so you don't have to have a dog or a cat. I had a friend in Chicago who had a pair of guinea pigs whose names were Belladonna and Took.
Oh, that's good.
So named after Bilbo's mother.
Were they long-haired guinea pigs?
No, I don't think so. But he would talk to them like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they would like squeal. The audience is laughing at the 433 performance. So he'd be like, "Gah, gah, gah," and they would go like, "Squeak, squeak, 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 squeak."
Okay, that's fun.
So I like that. But they smelled awful.
Capybaras,
Yeah,
I love these guys.
they're great.
They're so like docile.
They like to hang out in like pools and hot springs and stuff.
Yep. So I think my heart is with
My
capybara.
heart is with the capybaras as
All
well.
right.
Yeah,
Okay, otter versus
tough competition.
giraffe.
Ooh, so giraffe is like one of those things where you're like, wrong planet. It's on the wrong planet. It should be on Mars or something. It's an alien, and is therefore very compelling.
Yes, giraffes don't seem like they should work.
But they do.
Yeah.
Their necks are so long.
I know, and they can run fast when they want to.
Their tongues are so blue.
Otters are cute. I think they have that going for them.
They're cute, and they hold hands in the water so they don't get
that's
lost.
nice.
I mean, A giraffe is very cool, but I can't not give it to the otter.
Okay, we'll go with the otter. I think that's fair. All right. Next is a puma
Okay, all mammals so far.
versus a Gila monster.
Okay, and Gila monster, that's like a lizard of some kind, right?
Yeah, I think it's a amphibian.
I think it's a reptile.
All right, I'm looking it up so that way
Okay.
we're informed.
Okay, great,
We're making
good.
informed decisions. It is. It's a species of venomous lizard.
Okay, all right. So versus a puma, this may be a which one wins in a fight.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Even if I think the puma probably tears a Gila monster apart, but it probably gets bit with
Yeah, the
a
poison.
venomous bite and then
Uh-huh.
ends up succumbing to
So
its
it's a
wound.
wash. It's probably
It's
a
a wash,
tie.
yeah.
It's probably a tie.
All right.
All right.
Our first tie.
A whale
Uh-huh.
versus a meerkat.
Size differential here. pretty big.
One is probably
Sorry, did we know what kind of whale or just whale?
it says just whale.
Okay.
Yeah, it just says whale.
Okay. So we have to
And I can't identify it on site.
right, okay.
So
But not like an orca, which is
it
technically
definitely
a
wasn't
dolphin.
an orca.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
it wasn't an orca.
I mean, I do like a whale just out of sheer size.
Yes.
The bigness is compelling to
In
me.
some ways, they're the giraffe of the sea. They don't seem like they should
That's right.
exist.
They seem like they should be animal or
yeah, they're like
alien
monsters.
creatures. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
they're like monsters.
They're like monsters. I think whales for me.
Yeah, I don't know what would make me choose meerkat.
Yeah. Timon.
Hey, can't argue with Timon.
Yeah.
But like a whale is a whale, you know?
Okay, bald eagle
Mm-hmm.
versus an ape.
This is one for the ages. Both of them I can picture on the as art on like a folder I bought in junior high school where
Oh, yeah.
like they're ripping up a basketball while dunking it. You know what I mean?
I was thinking more National Geographic.
No,
but
no.
yes, both for sure. Yeah,
They're both extreme athletes.
Yeah, and I can envision a poster
Mm-hmm.
or like a folder that you were getting at a Scholastic book fair that had both on like a 3-on-3,
Yes.
street hoops competition.
I love that.
Yeah. I'm gonna say ape because it's like saying yes to a cousin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. It's hey, it's a primate and so are we. So yeah, let's say the ape. We were accompanied today by the BBC Symphony Orchestra. All right, Mark, let's get into the news.
So, one thing I just wanted to shout out kind of at the top of the news section is 2026 is a year with lots of gaming and Nintendo anniversaries.
Yeah, well, and like, so we are going to spend our Thursday episode looking forward into what we know is going to be coming out, what we think is going to come out, and then also just like make some predictions, right? And some of that I think will likely be informed by these anniversaries that you're about to shout out.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Super Mario Brothers is celebrating its 40th anniversary. It started last year, but that kind of like continues into this year.
Yeah, they usually don't do it until or announce it until September, right?
So I wonder, how much. Well, the reason I bring that up is because The Legend of Zelda celebrates its 40th anniversary
Right.
in 2026. And I wonder if we will see much in the way of like a celebration for that just because they'll have done the same thing with Super Mario Brothers, the previous year.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, do we know that the Zelda movie's coming out 2027?
Yeah, it is. It's next year.
Okay. Then yeah, I mean, like, this year, obviously the Mario Galaxy movie is coming out. And they started talking about honestly talking about that and like showing off trailers and stuff September last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be by like approaching the end of next year that we're getting trailers for.
You would think
for
so.
That's crazy.
Yeah, especially if they're following the same kind of like marketing timing that they're doing for this, because
Yeah.
I think
I
that
wonder
movie
if they
comes
will.
out in May. I think
Yeah.
it got bumped a couple of weeks, but I think it comes out at the end of May now. Anyways, yeah, Legend of Zelda 40th anniversary in 2026. Also celebrating its 40th anniversary in 2026 is Dragon Quest, the Dragon Quest series. And we already, know we're getting the Dragon Quest 7 like reimagining.
Yep.
And I wonder what else they will have in store.
Yeah, it's a really good question because I mean, and it's not as though they've been light on Dragon Quest content lately. The last 2 years have seen HD 2D remakes of the first three games, and then like this one, it comes out real soon, right?
I think
It's
February. Yeah.
February, yeah. So a scant 4 months after the most recent Dragon Quest release. So maybe that'll be it.
Yeah, maybe we'll finally see footage of 12.
That would be cool.
Maybe we'll get a reveal of 12.
I'm a little anxious to see what that looks like.
Me too, especially because I feel like I don't know if if we meaning like collectively the world had anything to go off of, but because I don't know if the genesis of it was some like interview or if it was just a vibe we were all getting. The 12 was going to be the one that they tried to like pivot a little bit, make it more like
Yeah.
in the same way they did with Final Fantasy 16. Try to be like, this one's for the entire world. We're trying to make it more like Game of Thrones. We're making it less like specifically Japanese.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But-
And speaks to something that we're going to talk about in a little bit with Metroid Prime 4. That and I guess we'll just like preview that there's like a little bit there where they're talking about some of the game design elements, and it sounds like from the like inception of like we have to make a new Metroid Prime game to the game like actually being developed in earnest, that tastes in a lot of those things changed, and I feel like that has happened to the like sort of grim dark presentation of like Game of Thrones, that like that's not actually the fantasy that's in vogue right now. And so it would be weird for Dragon Quest to throw a dart at a target that has already moved.
Right. Especially because it'd be so
outside what they do.
Yeah. So but I don't know why that was the speculation they were going to do. Like I don't really know what the genesis
Yeah, I
of
don't
that
really
was.
remember that either.
And when they did like the logo reveal all those years ago,
Yeah.
like, maybe it was 5 years ago at like the 35th anniversary.
I think that's right.
It was really just a logo reveal, but I remember pointing to it and being like, "Oh, but it has like the vibe of a more mature."
We said this.
experience."
I know that we said it on this show. Yes.
Exactly, and so that's why I'm like, I don't. Anyways, yes, if
Well, I do think
that's what makes me so curious what this is
Yes.
going to be.
so. I do think that there is just something to like Dragon Quest 11 is such a like a period on the end of a sentence, right? Like it is such a definitive statement about Dragon Quest.
It's
It
kind
looks
of like Final Fantasy 9 that way.
totally, yeah. Which like makes you think that they have to do something different moving on from that. But like or was it a return to form? Because 9 and 10 are like way different from the series that preceded it. But yeah, I hope all of which is to say, I hope we get more information about it as part of this 40th anniversary.
Yeah, they shared a logo for the Dragon Quest 40th anniversary,
Oh.
and it's like it's a blue slime.
Good.
And I thought it was wearing a bow tie, which would have been amazing.
Very smart.
But it's not. It's just like a big bow in front of the slime as like part of the logo. I don't think it's actually attached to the slime in any way.
I see.
Yeah.
So you and I should get marketing a slime with wearing a bow tie.
It's a good idea. Is
It's
what
a
I'm
great
saying.
idea.
Yeah.
The Zelda movie comes out May 7th, 2017.
Oh, okay. So early May. Great.
Yeah. And like essentially part of the same like spring window as the Mario Galaxy movie.
Yeah.
This year. Yeah.
Interesting. Persona, not really necessarily associated with Nintendo, but the Persona series celebrates its 30th anniversary in 2026, as does Pokemon. And I am expecting, like a new generation as part of that 30th anniversary.
There's a new generation, but there's also, and I'm gonna forget the name of it, the Pokemon battle thing that that's gonna be coming out this year. That's gonna be like a multi-platform, so like on Switch 2, mobile, and it's going to be like the home of like Pokemon the video game battling. It's called like Champions or Championship or something like that. It's not Champions because that's the mobile game. But there's that game that will be coming out this year, and I wonder if that is their stand-in for the new generation, or if they can't let a anniversary like this go by without the
Right, without
without
a brand new
Gen
generation.
10, yeah.
Yeah, that will be interesting. I mean, no, we do have Pokopia. Well, of course, we talked about this more on
yes.
Thursday. And yeah, so we will see. Also, the GameCube celebrates its 25th anniversary, and that means Luigi's Mansion as a series is celebrating its 25th anniversary. The Game Boy Advance.
Are we due for another Luigi's Mansion?
I think we certainly could be. It was 2019 that Luigi's Mansion 3 was released.
Right, the last like new one.
Yeah, and it's been like it's sold over 15 million copies or something like that. So Luigi's Mansion is a big franchise for Nintendo. So yeah, maybe we will see that this year. Game Boy Advance is also celebrating its 25th anniversary. The Wii celebrates its 20th anniversary, and the 3DS celebrates its 15th anniversary, if you can believe it.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff all hitting here at the same time here.
We got some new Switch 2 edition ratings popping up on the website of the European Game Rating Board, PEGI, just before the new year. So, new listings for Pikmin 3 Deluxe Switch 2 edition.
Cool.
And then a Splatoon 3 Switch 2 edition, which both of those are interesting to me for a number of reasons. But also Splatoon 3 already received a free Switch 2 update in June.
Right, which has just made it like the version of it that you play on Switch 2 and not a Switch 2 version.
That could be true. I know that it brought they also made some changes to the Switch version.
But that's 4, right? And not 3?
There is no are you talking about Pikmin?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, both of these things. So, Pikmin 4 did get a patch.
Did it get a patch? I know it got a free update in November.
Yes.
And
then Splatoon 3 also has
a Switch 2 update.
Right, we're on the same page.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was trying to look up the name of that Pokemon game that I was talking about, so I was only half listening.
So yeah, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, interesting. First of all, that both of these seemingly are going to get Switch 2 editions.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder,
how many more of that do we have?
Yeah. Is it more than we expected? Because I remember when we were...
And how much can we stomach?
Yeah. Being that's the thing that you're getting for this month, right? Not necessarily a new game.
Right.
You're getting Animal Crossing 3.0. You are getting, this Splatoon
Bella Park
Uh-huh.
in Mario Wonder.
Especially with Pikmin 4 having that update.
Yeah.
That brought a bunch of stuff into it, like a bunch of new content. Well, maybe that's an over exaggeration, but you know what I mean. It brought those new Pikmin. Why am I blanking on what they're called?
Yeah, the decor Pikmin.
Mm-hmm. It's brought the in-game camera, so it has a photo mode, that sort of stuff.
And there was a hard mode as well. There's enough added to it that it's this is what you would expect of a 3.0 update or whatever like that.
Yeah.
But not truly Nintendo Switch 2 editions. But the thing is we're on the precipice of the Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Switch 2 edition coming out. And if you couple that with the new version of it, it's maybe that's enough to feel new, genuinely new content, but probably not. It's going to feel like something fun to sample and not something fun to get lost in. And I worry that too many of those, and it's going to be well, okay, these are just for people who haven't played these before.
Right. Where are the new games?
Where are the new games?
That's what I'm worried about.
Right. And especially if each of these upgrades, the Animal Crossing one, you can get all the new content on Switch 1 and pay nothing extra. And if you want to play it on Switch 2 with those upgrades, $5. Fine. Great. Perfect. But Jamboree TV on Super Mario Party Jamboree, that's a $20 upgrade.
Right.
And it's what is the content that justifies that?
I'll be interested to learn more about the Bella Park.
Yeah, me too.
Content that they'll be adding to Super Mario Brothers Wonder, because you weren't that crazy about the TV edition, whatever it was called, for
the Jamboree TV.
Yeah, Jamboree TV, and
for Mario Party. Yeah.
And I think you bounced off Star-Crossed World for Kirby and the Forgotten Land really fast. I finished it, but it's slight. It's like, so if that's the level of new content that is coming in these Switch 2 editions, yeah, it's hard to be excited about it. They're not really a meal, you know?
Right. And like so it puts it like, if it is not for those of us who have played these already and are spending $20 extra to get a little bit more content, then the only other audience it could be for would be the people buying it new. And the people buying it new would be paying $80.
Right. And if you're going to buy it new, you don't really need the new content yet.
Right.
Like, you could just play the base game. I don't know. This is all just based on ratings. We
Yes.
don't know what these are. We're assuming that they're real. But yeah, I'm just has me a little bit nervous.
Yeah, yes. I don't think we need to have a Pikmin 3 Deluxe Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Like, Pikmin 3 does not need to be released that many times. Period.
Right. But is it just because a new Pikmin thing is so far out? But how many times can we keep saying that? Like, how many franchises can that possibly be true for? I don't know. I think 2026 is going to be... I'm just super excited to learn what Nintendo has, because I think it'll tell us a lot about what this generation is going to look like.
I'm going to go so far as to say it better tell us a lot, right? That, like, I'm always happy to talk about Nintendo stuff, and whenever a new game comes out, I'm going to want to learn about it and usually play it. But yeah, it feels like the arc of like predictable Nintendo releases is starting to feel less obviously exciting. And I would rather live in a place of perpetual excitement.
Luckily, we're just a few weeks probably away from Nintendo Direct,
Yep.
where I'm sure we'll learn more. But yeah, that would be 3 Nintendo Switch 2 editions. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. We will see.
We'll see. Also, data miners have discovered some interesting new code in the latest update to Monster Hunter Wilds, the new Monster Hunter game that was released on Xbox and PlayStation 5 last February, that seemed to point to a Switch 2 edition in the works. Capcom has acknowledged that Monster Hunter Wilds has sold below their expectations, and with Capcom seemingly all in on Switch 2, does this make sense? And does that make a sequel to Rise pretty far out?
Oh, that's interesting. I feel like Rise is always on its own track, right? Like, it came out pretty quickly after Worlds. Is that right? Or it's probably years, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
We're not big Monster Hunter guys, so I don't know why we're speaking of that.
Years,
but
maybe.
yeah. Regardless, like, Rise went multi-platform after a couple years. Anyway, like, it started as
that's true.
a Switch exclusive, but then they started to like broaden things out. I think mostly your point about Capcom being like in the bag for Switch 2 is maybe the most telling thing there, where it's like, yeah, why wouldn't they try to bring Wilds to Switch 2?
Yeah, exactly. Especially with, I mean, like we were talking about, I think as part of our Wows and Whiffs episode, Xbox's, like, the games that they used to sell on the Xbox install base,
right,
they have to try to sell somewhere else. And so if the Switch 2 is viable and selling well, it makes sense to at least give it a shot. I just looked it up. So World came out in 2018 and Rise was released in 2021.
Okay, 3 years. So yeah, that's the normal video game cycle, I guess.
There's also persistent rumors of a Starfield port, and Jez Corden of Windows Central posted on social media that, quote, the first Call of Duty Switch version is nearly done and launching in a few months. So
interesting.
Yeah. All in all, it just seems like Switch 2 is going to continue to get big third-party games in 2026, albeit many of them late ports.
Yeah, but late ports not from like 4 or 5 years ago, but like just a couple years ago.
Right.
And that feels substantively different, but I actually don't know if it is different.
I guess it's also hard to fault the late ports on a system that didn't come out until last year.
Right.
But for me, it's exciting to see, like, I think the late ports are great. It's also exciting for me to see Capcom step up with, like, day and date new releases.
Yes.
And that's where I eventually hope we get with other, like, publishers as well.
Yeah, me too.
There are reports that Nintendo is now offering smaller cartridge sizes for the Switch 2.
This is great news.
So at launch, only 64 gigabyte game carts were available, but apparently they're now offering carts at like 16 gigabytes and 32 gigabytes. The reason would be nice is that it has the potential to have an effect on game keycard releases going forward, meaning
Right. So a lot of what we had seen before is that like basically everything except for first party games were showing up on game key cards because it was only the biggest and therefore most expensive cards that you could buy. And so if a game was not so big that they needed all that memory, they were just like throwing money away on the carts. So they were just these game key cards. And if they are going to be making smaller carts available, that means we can expect to see more games where the game is actually on the cart itself.
yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes.
You did have that developer from Ubisoft talking about Star Wars Outlaws, the port that they did, and how that was a game key card for performance issues related
Right.
to asset streaming.
Right.
Like that they just couldn't get it fast enough from even like a 64 from just having the game on the card itself. So I think it'll be a combination of both. But yeah, hopefully we'll start to see more releases where the entire game is on a game cart.
Isn't that interesting that like you stream the assets faster from the hard drive, so like that actually makes the game work versus doing it on the card, which like,
Right.
still has to do some level of loading.
Yeah.
It's just that's just an interesting little thing.
Well,
The game is called Pokemon Champions. I was right about that.
okay.
That's a new battle focused game featuring ranked and casual modes coming to Switch and mobile devices in 2026. I didn't make this thing up.
I know. No, I just think it's funny that you spent the last like 10, 12, 15 minutes.
Well, so I went to
looking
the
for
I went looking for like news sources,
Uh-huh.
and then I went to the Pokemon's Wikipedia, and then I was like, forget it, just type in upcoming Pokemon games and let the AI guide you.
Yeah.
And that's how I got there.
I think that it's impressive that you were able to stay engaged while also frantically searching the internet
to
for this.
one level or another.
Well, let's talk about, we teased it a little bit earlier. Let's talk about this Famitsu interview with Metroid Prime 4 developers, unnamed Metroid Prime 4 developers, about just how this game came to be. So all this is translated from Famitsu.
Yes.
So there may be some like nuance lost. And like, none of the quotes are attributed to anybody specifically.
Right. So there's a lot of wishy-washiness here
Yeah.
that we're dealing with, and yet still like illuminating, I think, especially for stuff that we can start a conversation off of.
Yeah, I think so too. So speaking of where the demand for this game came from in the first place, quote, the project started as a request from Nintendo of America. It was a request to make a new mainline game in the numbered Metroid Prime series. We thought about how to make a game that kept the primeness while also delivering a new experience. At the same time, we made the relationship between Samus and Sylux the main thread for the story, something we had wanted to do for some time.
Okay, so very interesting that when you like hear about the relationship between like Nintendo Japan and NOA, that like NOA is just executing on and like making marketing decisions for what Nintendo proper is putting out. But this is Nintendo of America being like, please, 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 please make a new Metroid Prime game, a numbered game, not a spin-off. Don't jerk us around. Make Metroid Prime 4.
Well, and think about like when that request must have been made, because
Yeah.
the game was revealed in 2017.
Yes.
At that like first post-Switch launch E3, and like it makes sense
It was totally announced as like Metroid Prime 4 is in development for Switch 2 or Switch, period. And that was all they had.
Yeah. It was like a logo, kind of, but
it was a logo treatment. Yeah.
Yes, it was a logo treatment. But it makes sense when you think about like where Nintendo as an entity was, where it's like, okay, like the Wii U failed. We're coming back with the Switch. The Switch is aimed, like, I don't know. In some ways, it was so dialed in on delivering what people wanted from Nintendo that it makes sense that Nintendo of America would say, this would be a great opportunity for
Yes.
us to get a new numbered Metroid Prime game on the system. It also makes me think that if because of like the rebooted development and everything, that if they hadn't announced it, they would have killed it.
Totally. Well, 100%. And it really does feel like an odd instance of NOA like wagging the dog a little bit here, right? Because like it was a Bandai Namco studio that was working on the now canceled Metroid Prime 4. We think it was the Shanghai studio that they Singapore studio that they eventually purchased, but we don't have confirmation on that. And like for Nintendo to like put a game to bed feels like they didn't have like a total vision for this thing. Like in talking about like what they did have, they're like, yeah, we wanted to keep the primeness, and we knew we had Silux, but like it just does not feel like the way that Nintendo approaches games, where they're like, now it's time for another Mario game. Now we make the Mario game. We haven't seen Bowser for a while, so let's put him in there.
Or where they're so focused on the mechanic, like figuring out the
Yes.
fun, and then deciding which character should star in this, or like
Yeah.
what is the core, like the core idea, the core fun piece. And I don't know that it doesn't feel like Prime 4 that was the genesis of it, right? They weren't like, I have
Absolutely.
this great idea for a Prime 4 game.
No, they were like, we need a Prime 4 game.
Yeah.
Which is it's so funny because like that's the way that fans talk about. Or like, hey, why don't we have an open world Star Fox game? You know, like, and that is enough for us to be like, yeah, that'd be fun. But then someone has to make it and like
Figure out what the fun is.
Yeah. And it certainly does feel like Metroid Prime 4 has not discovered new fun. And you know, again, there are elements of the game that are new that I think are good and are engaging and are fun, but a lot of its primary joys are borrowed from Metroid Prime.
Yeah. On difficulties of development, quote, partway through, the development company changed and the project was restarted with Retro Studios. However, at that time, Retro did not have the structure to make a Metroid Prime game. So first we had to begin by making that structure. Furthermore, we outsourced some of the background model and movie creation to external companies. Particularly the background data required a lot of external support. So first we had to start by selecting those companies, and then following that, further management was necessary.
So a fascinating bit here in that they moved development over to Retro. And maybe it's because Retro had a pitch, or like, who knows why? I guess because they had been working on the Prime remaster.
Yeah, that was like the rumor from a few years ago.
Right.
That basically that's what happened. When Nintendo saw what they were working on with Remaster, they were like, okay, maybe this just makes sense.
But it sounds like, according to this bit of information, that Retro wasn't really staffed up to make a first-person shooty explory Metroid Prime game, because they'd spent the last decade and a half making Donkey Kong games.
Well, and after they made that Tropical Freeze, they spent a lot of time not releasing anything. Right?
Yes.
They were a support studio. They worked on like Mario Kart 7, like that kind of stuff. Then they did some ports, but here's what I think it's one of the things that I thought was really interesting out of the like online discourse around this interview is that I saw people saying things like, well, they should have just let Retro like do it. It would have been better if Retro had just been left to their own devices, which to me is such a like unusual take reading this, because it doesn't seem like Retro Studios doesn't seem like they had the talent to do that.
Absolutely.
The know-how to do that. Like, I don't know how we could say that Retro left to their own devices would be able to make a better game when they hadn't shipped a new game in like a decade.
Well, and you know, for all intents and purposes, like Retro's never been left to their own devices. Even in making like the original Metroid Prime, they were working with Nintendo, who owns them. It's I think there's just a little bit of like blood in the water, around Nintendo right now. So anything that people can pick apart as like a negative, they will, as like blame Nintendo, despite the fact that like retro is also Nintendo. But yeah, it's so fascinating that like um it's like these 2 points of we need a Metroid Prime 4 game, and then like a second data point of we need retro to develop it, both being like asserted without there being a game like idea or the talent behind it to develop it in place.
Well, I do think it's really telling that their first thought was like, okay, we'll make Metroid Prime 4, but we're not going to retro. We're
Yes.
not.
Yeah.
We're going to a outside developer. That I think that really tells you like how the state of retro studios at the time,
Sure. Right.
you know? Um Also, not in the quotes that we're pulling from here, but they talk in the interview, they also talked about like so when that first studio, when like development stopped there and we moved it to retro, we took some of the ideas like psychic abilities and that sort of thing, and then retro studios is the one that like fleshed it out and all that. So it's like they didn't completely maybe code wise they completely start over, art, all of that, I don't know, but clearly by the time that change happened, they had an idea for what they wanted this game to be. Like it was like,
Or
okay,
some component of it.
some
Yeah.
components of it. Yeah. Um okay. On why this isn't an open world Metroid game, or maybe it is, maybe it is. Quote, at the start of the project, perhaps due to the influence of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, we saw a lot of comments on the internet saying, we want to play an open world Metroid. However, Metroid's core element of increasing the amount of explorable areas by unlocking powers is not very compatible with the freedom to go anywhere from the beginning of open worlds. Thus, we thought to design a limited area that could be freely explored and have that be a hub that could connect to other areas. Then we thought that if one could move around on the bike in a satisfying way at that area, it could be a segment that mitigates the tension from exploration and paces the whole game. In the end, the game took much longer than expected to finish, and we realized that players' impressions toward open world games had changed.
Boom. Huge note there. The game took much longer than expected to finish, and we realized that players' impressions towards open world games had changed. This is the thing that we were talking about with Dragon Quest. They're throwing a dart at a target that has moved.
That being said, development had already been reset once before when we started again from scratch with Retro Studios, so backtracking development again was out of the question, and we resolved to move forward with our original vision. During this time, shooting games and action games went through evolutions, with an increase in game speed in particular, and taking in those changes would have made it difficult to construct the tempo of an adventure game, so we actively chose not to take them into account. Therefore, I think this game is pretty much divorced from the changing of times.
Right. So there are like two different trends that they identify here that are like make up sort of the skeleton of the game. One being an open world, like exploration based thing, another being a first person action game, and that like tastes in those games, what people have liked and been excited about in those games, have changed in the time that they were developing this game, which is true for most games, right? Like development takes so long. Development just took extra long in this case. And so like this game does feel like a totally off trend of any kind, kind of game, which is interesting, but I think speaks a little bit to like the general audience disconnect to what is still like a pretty good game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's a fine game. It just suffers so much from the build-up.
Yep.
You know, like there was no way they could have known that they were going to have to scrap development,
right,
and start all over. And in starting all over, build basically a completely new studio from the ground up to do it. But I bet every day they regretted that 2017 announcement. You know, because it totally ended up biting this game in the butt, because how could it possibly live up to so many years of hype and so many years of just like question marks, right? Like, what is this game? Where is this game?
Right. Well, and like the speculation about like what could the Nintendo Switch bring so many expectations of like we've talked about it many times before. How many games got their ultimate expression on Switch, right?
Right.
And then for Metroid, where it's like, okay, now we can do that for Metroid. It's an enormous responsibility when and the only guide you have is the name Metroid Prime 4.
Right.
And Nintendo of America being like, we really should have one of these.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me that something as like artistically precise as Metroid Prime 4 Beyond came out of this morass.
Yeah.
And it makes me like way more sympathetic to what that thing went through. Which is like, I don't want that to sound like me making excuses for it. I also just think the game is pretty good, if not also bad at sometimes. But yeah, it's just reading all of this is just like very illuminating.
Yeah, I feel like so candid. I feel like
Yes.
very candid of a discussion of like a difficult development. Clearly, this was a difficult development.
Right.
And I agree with you. I think the game that came out of it is frequently very good. I don't
Yes.
think it's a bad game. But it's just more tortured than we usually see from Nintendo.
Right. And I think that in its torturedness, it is interesting. Like, we're never going to get a breakdown like this about like, hey, so what the heck happened with Princess Peach Showtime?
Right.
You know? Partially because like no one's that interested in it because it's just like, well, okay, it wasn't very good. Why didn't you make it good? I don't know. We just didn't. But that also makes me wonder, like, who was saying like we really need a Princess Peach game, where these things come from is just so fascinating to me. Because like, we've been told this line that like Nintendo works from gameplay and then is like, how do we make this one of our games? And this is just the reverse of that, like twice.
Also, just kind of a fun thought exercise to think like, well, what if this had released, let's say, on time and like before Dread came out? Like,
yeah.
And would we be teeing up then for a Metroid Prime 5?
Great question.
Around this time, if they had been able to get Prime 4 out the door in, let's say, like 2020 or something,
I mean, I guess we'll find out in a couple months, but like, if Metroid Prime 4 sold well enough, do you think there's a possibility that they could like make a sequel to it relatively quickly? Like, Prime and Prime 2 came out within just a couple years of each other. If we had a Metroid Prime 5 to play at the end of next year or like mid next year or something like that, fewer than 3 years away, I would be excited to play that then.
They had seemingly they've put so much work into getting Retro in a place
right.
that they had like, the capability of making a game like this. And, I would guess that Nintendo, after Tropical Freeze was released, that Nintendo's intention was not for, Retro to not put out a game for a long time.
Sure.
Right? So, but that's what ended up happening. But yeah, after investing all of this money into getting Retro into a place where they could make a game like Metroid Prime 4, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be nice if they had another opportunity at it, right? Kind of like a fresh slate. But we'll see.
It's also I didn't include it in the write-up of the news here, but that theoretically where Metroid Prime 4 falls in the timeline is like outside of the normal Prime block.
Right. They said it's like between after Super Metroid and before Fusion, but since it takes place in like an alternate time and dimension, it can really Metroid Prime 4 can really just be any time. It doesn't matter.
So, but do we know if it's before or after Other M? Because Other M is also in that.
Oh,
window.
I don't know. I don't know the Metroid timeline well enough.
But it's just interesting because like all the rest of the Metroid Prime games take place between 1 and 2. And then this one is like, nah, just like
whenever.
It just like it's bumped out of there, which I think is fine. I think like Prime obviously denotes a type of game more than it does a time period. And I think that's smart. They should feel free to use that going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like you were saying, a fascinating game in its flawedness.
Yes.
Anything else you want to talk about with Metroid Prime 4 and the development of it before we move on?
So Metroid Prime, the original came out in 2002, and Echoes came out in 2004. So and then 3 came out in 2007. So if they could replicate that and go Metroid Prime 5 in 2027,
but
I know it's everything is different now.
Yeah. But yes, that would. I think if by the end of the Switch 2 generation, if we got another Metroid Prime game,
yeah,
that would be awesome. Also, it doesn't have to sell that well to be the best-selling Metroid game full stop of all time.
Right.
But certainly Metroid Prime game, because they've all of the Metroid Prime games have sold less than the previous one. And the original Metroid Prime is still the best-selling Metroid Prime game and was the best-selling Metroid game full stop
until Dread came out.
Right. So yes.
It is funny because like the whole series is such a non-entity for Nintendo as far as sales is concerned that it's like, you know, for whatever weight we put on it, it's just not that important to them.
Right. It's like we could make like, I'm just gonna guess, 5 Mario parties for the cost of a Metroid Prime 4.
Oh Jesus, yeah, probably.
You know, like it's just,
and they'd all sell 4 times as much.
You know, but I do think that there is something to having those prestige series, and clearly Nintendo does as well. But yes, the cost return analysis of a Metroid game must be very different than most other Nintendo franchises.
Well, you know, stop spending 8 years to make one of them. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Again, I don't think they would have if they hadn't announced it in 2017.
Yeah,
I don't think they would have. They would have just quietly killed it, and it would have become another one of those lost Nintendo projects we never hear about.
I just wanted to look it up while we were here. Metroid Dread having been the best-selling Metroid game. Do you know how many copies it has sold?
It's like a little over 2 million or something.
It's 3.07.
Okay,
so
a respectable number.
Basically 3 flat, but like that's less than the Super Mario RPG remake. You know, that's less than I'm going to throw one of my faves under the bus here, less than Pikmin 4, you know.
Wow, really?
Pikmin 4 sold 3.48 million.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And they were very happy with the growth in Pikmin 4, so yeah.
So, who knows?
Okay. Closing the book on Metroid Prime 4.
Yes,
for
closing
now.
it for now. Yes.
Okay. Strange little announcement on 007 First Light, which is coming to Switch 2. It's been delayed by exactly 2 months. So it was originally scheduled to release on March 27th, but has been moved to May 27th. And the game was delayed for the regular reasons, further polish and refining the experience.
What I find fascinating about this delay, first of all, was not really clocking that it was coming out in March. That's so soon. But moving it from March 27th to May 27th is one of those things where, like, if I were to see the new release date, I might have and if I knew the old release date, I may have just been like, oh, maybe I misunderstood it. And just got it, you know, like they're visually so similar between March 27th and May 27th that I wonder if they were trying to pull one over on everyone. Announcing it early January before like news is back in gear, and they're just like, we're giving ourselves 2 more months.
Yeah, it was always May. What are you talking about? They both begin with MA. That must be where you got
That's
confused.
You probably made this mistake. Because it also changes the day of the week that they're putting the game out on.
Really?
Yeah, from Friday to Wednesday.
Interesting.
Which is like, and you know, games get delayed all the time, and you know, for a month, 2 months, whatever. And, you know, at least they like gave a second release date. And I guess we could talk about whether we think it's going to hit that new release date. But yeah, just what a funny, interesting little thing that they're like, we're going from March 27 to May 27.
The Mario Kart World Switch 2 bundle production has ended. This comes from a GameStop memo stating, quote, "This bundle SKU has now reached end of life cycle, and additional units will no longer be produced. Future replenishment of Nintendo Switch 2 will be the base console."
And the communications from GameStop have gotten strange since RoboCop took over.
But, you know, when Nintendo announced the Mario Kart World bundle, they said that it would end in, cease production at the end of fall 2025. And that's what happened. Like, this news started popping up the day that winter began.
Yes.
So right on schedule. And even though production has ceased, the the bundle console is still available. I was looking today on Best Buy, and I could go pick up a Mario Kart World bundle now. So they're still available,
Right.
but seemingly Nintendo, just like they said, is no longer making them. I believe that the Pokemon ZA Legend ZA bundle is still in production, and I'm anticipating that they're going to continue to do these bundles for a while.
Yeah, I would think so too. What's it's weird to me that they would. I mean, I guess we'll see. Like, we will enter the wild world where people actually do have to pay $80 for Mario Kart World, and then see what that does to sales of Mario Kart. It's been buoyed so much by the fact that with the bundle, you're effectively only paying $50 for it. So yeah, it's pour one out for the smartest bundle they've done in a long time.
I know it will be really interesting to see, but like, sure, the alternative, I guess, is you don't get a new Mario Kart with your. I guess what I'm saying is that, like, if you want Mario Kart and you're new to the Switch 2, you're either buying World or you're paying $60 for 8 Deluxe plus the DLC if you want it, and either way, Nintendo
has your
they're just
$80.
fine.
Yeah. That's a fair point. But I guess the other possibility is you already had 8 Deluxe from when you owned a Switch 1. So, they only sold like 60 million copies of it. So, it's a pretty high likelihood that they do already have that.
Yeah, totally.
Almost 70 million, 69.56 million copies of Mario Kart 8
And you
Deluxe.
know it's not going to stop with the release of the Switch 2.
Right.
People are still going to pick it up. So, totally crazy.
That's wild. And that's as of the end of September. So, like, who knows what's happened in
over
Q4
the holidays.
It's definitely sold over 70 million copies by this point.
Super Rare Games announced that they are publishing physical versions of Shovel Knight Dig in Europe, available to order on their website starting January 8th. Comes with a full color manual, a sticker, and some trading cards. 4,000 copies. They mean it. Super Rare Games. 4,000 copies available for Switch, 2,500 for PS5.
Shovel Knight Dig, a game that I rather liked a lot. Played a ton of it the year it came out. And they've updated it with like DLC, which has always been free and is also like fun.
Is this
and
the
engaging.
roguelike?
This is the roguelike one that has a little bit more of a 16-bit aesthetic than an 8-bit aesthetic, and looks and sounds really good. As a game that I like a lot. And I was just excited to see that they were doing like a physical release of it at all. Weird that it is in such limited quantities, but maybe they know that, we've talked about Yacht Club a couple times recently about like the state that they are in, and maybe they know that there's not a market for more than 4,000 copies on Switch.
Also, I'm not familiar with Super Rare Games at all.
Yeah,
but,
me neither.
Maybe that's their business model, like how limited run games started out,
Sure.
right? Where it's like, it's really boutique. We're just making a few of these for collectors, and if you want it, you have to like get in like on the ground floor.
Yeah, I just always wonder like how much these like partnerships do for Yacht Club, and if they end up like actually making money on these endeavors, or I mean, like, best case scenario, you sell all 4,000 copies, and then then you've just sold 4,000 copies of like a physical thing you've got to like send around the world. And
I mean, I would guess that it's just being licensed.
That's probably true.
From Yacht Club. I would be very curious to know how the economics for a company like Super Rare Games works, where it's like, we're making 6,500 of these and we're still making a profit. Like, we're making money off of it.
Yeah,
it's just
that's
interesting to me. Udon Entertainment also recently revealed a Shovel Knight Ultimate Design Works art book featuring art from all the campaigns and spin-offs, including unused concepts, creator commentary, and 2 exclusive interviews with Yacht Club. The book comes out on May 26th.
So, we wait for Mina the Hollower. We wait for any news on Shovel Knight, Shovel of Hope DX, and yet other stuff keeps chugging along there. I'm just keeping an eye on Yacht Club right now, right? Like, I feel like they're on the precipice of catastrophe. And so I just like whatever's about to happen, I want to just be on top of it.
I know. I'm hopeful that we'll learn a release date for Me in the Hollower soon.
Me too. Yeah.
And that we'll be able to finally get that game in our hands. Finally, the next Tetris 99 Maximus Cup is happening this weekend with a new Animal Crossing New Horizons theme. So I think this is the second Animal Crossing New Horizons theme that we've had in the game. The Maximus Cup starts January 8th, runs through the 12th. It's inspired by the new content launching next week in that 3.0 update. And as always, if you've never played one of these Maximus Cups before, when you participate, you are trying to earn 100 points. And when you
first place will get you 100 points.
Yes, that's right. You earn points depending on how well you place in the matches. And then when you get 100 points, you get to unlock the theme so you can play with it anytime.
Right. But if you turn on the game anytime during the Tetris Maximus, you'll be playing in that new theme. And that's always fun. It draws people back to the game. So like it just feels a little bit more alive. I turned Tetris 99 on the other day just to like play a couple rounds. Had a blast. Tetris 99 is a great game. And so I am very much looking forward to this Tetris Maximus Cup. All right, Mark, let's get out of the news. And of course, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Join the Discord if you have not already. You should be. Email us. I'll send you an invitation. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying thank you for listening.